Mossey. Welcome to the Mossey Show. I have two special guests today, so I'm going to break this down for you. This is kind of a crossover podcast. So, we're doing the medium sessions with Guiliana Fischer, who is a medium. And we also have someone on the show, a very special guest, because as you know, episode 1 of our medium sessions podcast, we talked a lot about the late legendary Erin and his career and things that happened leading up to his death. And we have a very special person in his life on this podcast. So I want to, first of all, say welcome to Melanie Martin. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I know that you've been very quiet, right? You haven't really said a lot since these events that happened over the last year. And this is kind of the first time that you are going to tell your side of the story, because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of people talking about you. And I think it's very important now that you are able to tell what happened from your point of view, because we've heard everyone else's point of view but your own. Yep. So I want to thank you for, having the courage and being ready to speak out, because I know it takes time, courage, and determination and believing in yourself to be able to speak out when there's so many people saying so many different things. So I just want to thank you for choosing this show to voice that. All right, so we're going to jump in, right, Guiliana? We're going to jump in, and I want to start at the beginning because I feel like we don't know a lot, right? We know what we saw in the media. So I want to start out, how did you meet Erin, and how long did you guys know each other until it started turning into a relationship?
So it was real fast. I met him 2 days after Christmas, 2019, right before the COVID, 2020. It was just social media. I messaged him. I didn't think I was going to get a response, got a response. He was super sweet, super caring. It was very fast. It was a relationship within a week. It was like a full-on relationship.
Wow. So how would you describe that beginning of the relationship? How would you describe how he treated you? And you said he was really sweet, which a lot of people who met him and knew him in person, they describe him in that way. How did you describe that relationship?
I mean, I wish I could relive that every day again, it was the best times when I first met him.
What was your life like before you met Erin? Because we know that your life completely changed. When you started that relationship and you were kind of introduced to this world that you weren't used to.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Were you working? What were you doing in your everyday life?
Bartending. I did online modeling. Single. I've only had one boyfriend before Erin, and I'm 36. So I just worked and, hung out with my girlfriends, and that's it, and had a little, doggy. So
you sound very independent. You sound like you're on about your own business. You take care of yourself. So was it weird for you to be in a relationship and kind of be coexisting with him, because you've been single for so long?
I mean, I honestly wanted that, though, because I know I tried dating and I just gave up because I tried it before Erin, and I was like, this is not what I like. This is not right, so I just kind of gave up. And then out of the blue, I saw something of him. By the way, Princey's in the background here. He's going to make his little appearance if you guys hear him in the background. But I mean, I was caught off guard. I didn't think that, this was going to be anything. And I saw Erin on some article. I guess I really, to be honest with you, didn't really know about Erin too much, except for when he was on the Lizzie McGuire thing. And I remember seeing him on that, and then, seeing a little bit of songs, but I didn't know too much about him. I wasn't too much of a I didn't look into that,
So you weren't a fangirl, right? You knew who he was, but you weren't a fangirl. I understand. Yeah. So I want to ask, how did your life change when you got into this relationship? Because you obviously went from being single and doing whatever you wanted to being in a committed relationship. But this isn't a normal committed relationship. This is a relationship with a massive public figure. This, you can't go anywhere or do anything.
For that at all.
Yeah, how did you handle that?
I honestly don't. I mean, I've just fell in love with him, so I just went with the flow, and just, I didn't want to live without him. So obviously, that was gonna be, if you're a fiance and girlfriend, you're gonna have to be around all of his publicity and all of that.
So how did the fandom react to you? Because I know, I know girls that are fans of Justin Bieber, they don't like Haley. right? Like I know the girls
Yeah,
are
they
very
always
hard.
have something to say. Like they're never happy with like what they settle down with, you know. I
Well,
see
I
it
think
too.
for fangirls, if it's not them, it shouldn't be you. That's how I feel about that.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
exactly how they are. They're like, oh well, he can do better. I'm like, but why, if he's happy, what do you want him to do better for or do differently? I feel like fangirls are very much like he should marry me or no one else. So I was curious
I
to see.
That's funny.
I mean,
I
I
would
know
agree.
that they treat the girls in these situations so horribly. You know, I've seen the
Yeah.
way the fangirls act. You
Yep.
know, I go to concerts and I used to do a lot of stuff in the music industry and I saw them firsthand and the way they treat the wives and the girlfriends and the fiancés is so harsh and mean. So would you describe Erin as a controlling person when y'all were together? Like, how did he want you, High Prince? How did he want you to act when y'all were out in public? Or did he let you be yourself?
I mean, he did let me be myself, but the thing is though, I feel like sometimes I couldn't be myself because he would go on lives all the time and the fans would like say stuff to like trigger him. And we can get into that with more of your questions, but like I tried to not make as many appearances as I could, to be honest with you, just because I wanted to avoid the drama.
So you signed
That's
up to
not,
be with him. You didn't
yeah.
sign up for all the crazy drama, right?
No,
I
and
feel
there
like
wasn't too much when I first met him. It was more like later on, it just got worse and worse. There
I've
was a
seen
lot
the
of stalking going on.
So I want you to talk to me about some of the problems you experienced in your relationship. You know, we've heard stories, we've seen lives, we've seen speculation videos. There's something happened at your baby shower, and I kind of want you to tell us what happened because we heard and saw the video of the aftermath. We never got to hear what put you in that emotional state. So I want to let you
Yeah, that's when I think I mean, things were great. We were preparing for Prince. We were staying at home. It was still kind of COVID lockup, I guess I would say, at that time. Aaron was doing celebrity boxing when I was 4 months pregnant. I think that's when he started like training, and he was doing pretty well. There wasn't too many enablers around. I would have to comment on that. It was just me and him working out. He was working out pretty good every day, and I had morning sickness, so I couldn't even come to those practices, and I would just stay at home, with the dogs and take care of the house, and things were great. And then he had one of his assistants come back and she planned like the baby shower and she showed up and it was like I saw a change in him, just out of the blue. This was what happened. I went to go prepare and buy like a baby shower dress and get like make like eyelashes and things like that. And I came back and he was not into it. And I found out some little things like there was another girl at the house from friends of Erin's friends that showed up that day, and they were like bringing their daughter over, and who was in her early 30s, and also an OF model. And then like his assistant who always talked to me before that didn't tell me that, and I just thought like there was a lot of um like people don't know the situations that I was in. And I'm not trying to blame. This is also I'm saying Aaron did what he did. And I don't want to speak badly about him, but that was what happened. He decided to do that. It was his actions. So I was doing that. I came back. I guess that girl wasn't there, but she made an appearance. Then um I came back. Aaron decided he didn't want to go to the baby shower that was planned, a very expensive baby shower, too. We didn't have to do a baby shower, but Aaron wanted to do a baby shower. He said, I want to do that. I want you to bring all your girlfriends. I want to sing. I want to do all this nice stuff. He was totally for it. Things changed. Then, I got upset. I go to the baby shower. He didn't go. The assistant didn't go that was there to plan it, flew out to plan the baby shower and nobody came from Aaron's friends. None of his friends came. It was just mine. And that's kind of when the there was that drama. And and all these people were all didn't have my back, didn't have a support. Like we didn't have a supportive system, we just had a gossiping system, I would say.
um,
Like that's all it was, behind my back. they
so
weren't they weren't
basically,
supporting my relationship if they're not going to show up to the baby shower, and they're not going to say, hey, what's wrong, like what did Melanie do, what's the problem. They're there cheering him on, saying, nope, you should just stay home. Don't even go.
So
Don't be supportive.
basically, they were supporting him, not you. So
Yeah.
they're always around and supporting him. And do you feel that they were helping him do things behind your back? Like, do you
Mhm.
think that they and
Like
purposely
hiding
hide?
it. Yeah, of course.
Wow, I can't imagine
And
what
I
it's like.
feeling that fakeness from people around. I mean, I was dealing with that all the time. It was a constant battle of that. So after that, I did go to the baby shower. He got upset. I came back. I was opening baby shower gifts. Okay, they tried to make me look crazy. I'm sure you've seen a video. I don't want to like bring it, um, and they tried to, get me out of the house. The assistant was a part of that. Then, he had his little fling, whatever.
You've told me about, this baby shower situation and how there was an assistant there who helped plan it. And you've been talking about the way people are doing things behind your back. And, it seems like there's like an ongoing dialogue that you're not included in. So tell me a little bit more about the baby shower and the assistant. And there's a little more to this situation.
Well, basically, it was, I was given under the impression that they were just friends and she was an assistant, but it was more than that. And I didn't know that until a year later from both of them. Like they
And
both did not
how
tell
long
me.
how long was she an assistant for him?
15 years.
Okay. And
So, but the thing is though, he never spoke about her even in the beginning of my relationship. I didn't even know who she was until a year in, and then she came back. He didn't speak about her. He spoke about other ones that he had, but never about her. So I didn't even know who she was.
and she's the one that planned the baby shower.
Yeah, when he called her and was like, "Oh, guess what? Like, I know I haven't talked to you in a while, but me and Melanie are pregnant," and he was all excited and telling everybody that he knew his whole phone book. And then, she was like, "Oh, you guys should do a baby shower." And at first, we were gonna cancel it, but then she's like, "No, I want to come and plan it," and she flew in and all of that. So
Hmm.
that's what I don't understand. And I was being all of these lies, and it's all manipulation.
And you found out that she slept with Erin.
Yeah.
And when did you find this out?
A year into her no being back as an assistant.
So
Hmm.
so she waited. Is she the one who told you or did someone else tell you?
No, they both did.
So she wow.
I just
So
think
this
it's all manipulation, and I've been dealing with this for way too long, and it's just
so
I
you're
cut ties.
interacting with this person, they're a part of your life, and this person is keeping the secret from you this whole time. And everyone knew. Everyone else knew, just not you.
Hmm.
I can't imagine. It's like you're a stranger in your own home. It's like you're walking around and there's all these strange people in your
There's
home.
just so many things going on in my head all the time, and it's like, do I stay or do I work on the relationship, or do I deal with all of this?
Well, right. And how did you come to a decision? Because some people will look at it as there was so much going on, she could have walked away. But how did you outweigh the good and the bad in that situation?
Because I basically thought, I can't live without him in retrospect, you know what I mean? And that's what, he touched my heart, and all the other stuff was kind of something that I had to, I mean, it was just part of life, but there was interesting circumstances.
Well, you said to me before that without social media, without all the people around, he
Yeah.
was the person, the love of your life. He was the person you needed
Yeah.
to be.
I mean,
It
we
was when
would go
all
on date night by ourselves once in a while. It wasn't very often because he wasn't too social, but when he did want to be, he would treat me really well. And especially, there's videos out there too, but then, off video too. And
well,
I feel
right. I
like I
think
didn't tell people enough when he was around, when he was here. And I felt like I wish I did tell a little bit, but I think that there was so much noise going on with all the other stuff that I never got a chance to say that because I was upset most of the time, you know what I mean, with all
right.
the other stuff that went on.
And when you're in love, it's not a necessity or it's not necessary for you to prove how in love you are to people. Because I
I
think a
think that
lot of
he
people,
wanted that though. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people are like, I don't need to go out of my way to prove my love. But
Yeah.
in this situation, it would have been better for people to see because people only remember what they saw on
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If the tables were turned and I brought an assistant, that would have never happened. Like Erin would have never been okay with that. But, I feel like I let him, you know, make a lot of the decisions. And
in a normal relationship, it's not abnormal to let someone make their own decisions. You know, that's a normal part in a healthy relationship. But again, he wasn't able to comprehend what a healthy relationship was. You
that's
know,
what I mean. Yeah.
we have to remember, you know, his home life and the things that he saw growing up, and
Hmm.
we can't really hold him fully accountable for the
I
way his
agree on that.
relationships were,
Yeah.
because he was doing what he knew, and we can only hold people accountable for what they were told or what they saw. And you know, if he never saw a relationship where you always made the right decisions, you always treated a person right, you always, you know, kept your temper down, we could hold him accountable. But that's not the life that he, those weren't the cards he was dealt. You know, what he
Yeah.
had to go through growing up, it shaped a lot of who he ended up to be.
Yeah, we went to couples counseling and everything, and like I mean, I feel like it helped a little bit, but then it would take a step back when different people would come. It's like his
And
manager was, I tried to get him help one day, and there was like a recording that they recorded, and I said, you're supposed to be going to rehab, like you're not supposed to be going out buying Lamborghinis with your friend, like I don't understand what you're doing right now, like. And he goes, just get her out of here, and just, that's not Erin, that's the side that, unfortunately we had to see, but that's not him, that's the manipulation. And
I think they call it backsliding, when you take two steps forward and then you take a step back. And a lot of, like what you said, it's him being reacquainted with people that were helping him take steps back. They didn't want him to
yes.
change for the positive. They wanted him to stay exactly where he
Oh,
was.
and they also were on documentaries saying that they were helping him with rehab too, by the way. But then there's recordings of me saying, "Hey, I'm here to help Erin," and then he's like, "No, we're gonna call the cops if you come here. You can't trespass in our house. You need to go back
Wow.
to your mom's house." Mhm.
It's
So
just
I dealt with stuff like that. It's all
it's the
recorded too.
manipulation. It's like manipulating, and then they're creating a narrative. And I think that's why it was so important to talk to you, because people have been creating a narrative about you. And I hate narratives, because narratives are not always true. And
Thank you.
people, it's normally a one-sided narrative. Like when a person has a relationship and the person cheated, they create a narrative that this person is a liar, a cheater, a manipulator. There's always two sides of the story, and then there's the truth. So I thought to talk to you and get the real truth is better than a narrative, because the internet is filled with narratives about you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think because of Erin, Erin grew up in a very damaged parentship. So his father was cheating on her mother. And I think for Erin, he was not like, maybe he was not feel guilty for all this stuff or thought it's normal to cheating because he grew up with parents who has a really damaged relationship. And I think that for Erin, maybe it was normal to see this all and to did all this stuff because he had not a normal childhood because of his parents. This is my opinion to all this.
I agree with you. I believe in controlled chaos. And when you grow up in controlled chaos, you know, you watch cheating. Cheating is only wrong if you believe it's wrong. And when you grow up and it's happening around you and people don't fully understand love and how to show love and how to express love and how to be faithful, you don't see it as wrong. Because I learned this because, you know, my parents are divorced. Everyone in my family has been divorced at least once, most people more than once. And I know that people don't look at cheating as cheating because when they were raised a certain way, you know, when they saw it, it was okay. And then the mom
Yeah.
cheated on the dad or vice versa, and they stayed together. They don't see it as serious as it is because they look at it as, well, it didn't end their relationship, so it wasn't the end of the world. So I think you nailed it. I think you really did
I
nail
think so
the fact
too.
that he was a part of a toxic, chaotic environment, and it shaped who he was, even into manhood. It shaped what he expected to get from a relationship. And unfortunately, Melanie, even though you've done everything right, you've given him the things he asked you, you were faithful to him, you gave him a child, you were helping him change into a better person. Unfortunately, who he was and who he was as a child, it still was overcoming his life. How long would you say that you guys were in a relationship before this type of stuff happened? Because the relationship you explained earlier, it, it was
I
much
just think he
different.
wasn't given the right, like, he wasn't used to the stability of a relationship, to be honest with you. Like, it was like, once it was good, no, let's not make it good anymore, like. But he always said he wanted a wife and he wanted a baby and he wanted this and he wanted that and he wanted the stability. But then when it's there, I don't know.
Well, you make a good point, because a lot of men are under the impression they want a wife, they want a family, and they want kids. But like you said, when they get it, they weren't raised in like the type of relationships that are healthy. So they don't understand how to maintain a healthy relationship, because we're only a product of our environment. You know, what we've
Yep.
seen, what we were growing up around, and especially his background in the entertainment industry. You know, in the entertainment industry, people just hop from person to person, right?
I know.
You can't expect healthy relationships, because people, they don't see that, they don't practice that, it's not something that they're used to. And even when things are going well, we've seen many celebrity relationships where everything was fine, then one person cheats on the other and leaves them and marries someone else. Like, it's super common. So I can't imagine what it's like for you, because you literally were doing what he wanted. You wanted to be his wife, you wanted to have his kids, you wanted to start that family, and then in turn, you doing what he asked you, you were going through these situations with flings and other women. And then on top of it, you have all of these people around you who seem to be working for him and not you. They
Yeah,
want
and
to help him.
also pretending like they were helping. That's the worst part.
So basically, two-face people, and helping him cover things up. And I can't imagine that it has to be hard when you're in a relationship, but you're basically in a relationship with all these people, because all of these people have
Yeah.
their hands
Thank you,
in your
George. Yeah.
relationship, and you
Yes,
trust none
that's
of them.
I could never get rid. Once I got rid of one person, another person came back. I'm like, how is this even possible? Like,
So how did things change after the baby shower? Because I know that was a pretty major event in the relationship. Did you lose trust, or did you guys
I
work
lost
it out?
trust. Honestly, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I mean, I was super disappointed. I was excited. I saw a change in him. He did the celebrity boxing. I noticed some changes. I was hopeful, I would say. I thought things turned around, to be honest with you. But then after the baby shower incident with the other woman, I just kind of I lost hope after that. Before that,
So
I had a little bit of hope.
so in your opinion, I always like to ask this question when things like this happen. Do you believe that you and Erin's relationship would have worked much better and flowed better without all these people in it?
Of course, but that's, I don't want to sound like that controlling person, but yes, I do think. Of course I do, because he did struggle with his, mental health issues, and I don't know if necessarily it was easy to have a fiance and all that, but everybody should be given a chance at love, and I gave Erin that chance. I
Absolutely.
tried.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So,
you did your part and you fulfilled your end of the bargain, right? And I feel like that's all that you can do. And a lot of times when these relationships go wrong, it is the outside interaction, it's the outside contact with people who have no business in your relationship in the first place. Like, you
it
were in a
would have been
relationship.
a lot easier. I'm not saying it would have been Erin wouldn't have been Erin, but it would have been a lot easier.
So is this the only time there was any infidelity? Like, or do you know?
No, there was more infidelity, but I don't really need to get into it.
So more, okay. All right. So when he went on live, talking about something that happened on Valentine's Day, this was around the time, I did a podcast. I was covering Darcy and Stacey, and we were talking about
Hmm.
this on my podcast. And
Yep.
Georgie is someone, you both are from the same country. You're from
Hmm.
Bulgaria, right?
Yep. That's where I'm
And
from.
you guys were connected through texting, right?
No, not texting, just social media. I did speak to a couple more 90 Day Fiance people, and girls and the guys, and Aaron too, actually. So it was kind of like the whole, we really liked that show during the COVID. We really liked that show. It was nothing. The Aaron kept on going with that narrative, but I mean, I never even left the house. I
Well,
was
right.
right there.
You mentioned this was during COVID, so I believe Georgie was in Miami at the time. You were
Okay,
in
I
California.
wouldn't know. I never followed up with that, any of that, but
So nothing happened, because I know
no.
Darcy went on Entertainment Tonight and she said absolutely nothing happened.
Yeah,
But
nothing.
for some reason, the fans didn't want to believe anyone that said it didn't, because Aaron went on live and he was sure that it did. And I don't know if he meant like he thought y'all were like emotionally cheating. I don't know what his context was, because some people look at it as if you're talking on the phone with them and you don't tell me it's cheating, but I don't know what the context is, but we want to make it clear right now. You never actually met Georgie in person.
No, I never planned on doing anything like meeting him either. Like it was nothing like that. So yeah.
So this was just something that it went on the live. He went on live, he said it, and people ran with it, because Georgie has never really commented on it, but Darcy was very vocal. She was like, this never happened.
Yeah, because it's the truth. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we can clear it up, because 90 Day Fiance, that's my thing. And like you said, it's everybody's guilty pleasure, especially during COVID. I definitely understand why you guys were bonding on that show. I've had a 90 Day Fiance podcast almost 4 years. I'm super invested. I know every single person who's ever been on the show. We're about to start a trivia podcast where people do trivia, and I have no life. Like, this is my whole thing. So that's kind of how I was introduced to you at that time, because I didn't know that you and Erin were engaged at the time. So when I heard about you, it was through that messy story.
Yeah.
Guiliana, I want you to tell me a little bit more about this Darcy, Georgie, Melanie situation, because you told me that for a fact there was absolutely nothing going on. And I know Melanie just told us there's nothing going on, but I know that you have proof. And I know with your gift, you were able to tell us, we talked about this on the podcast last week. You can see when people are being, there's infidelity in a relationship or being dishonest. So give me your insight, your clairvoyant take on what was going on between Melanie and Georgie.
Yeah, I think that Melanie was not cheating on him, and I think it's absolutely not possible to cheat on him, because she was with her newborn baby in another room and risking him. So like, how can you cheating on someone when you are in the same house in another room and the person is in another state? Like, so she was just talking with him about the 90 Days Fiance show, and just that people maybe have the same, or Darcy and Stacey has the same trouble like Erin and Melanie sometimes.
Sorry, you guys.
Yeah, a lot of people maybe are jealous or they don't like him, and so they have a really similar relationship. And I know that Melanie was not cheating on him. She just was asking him about the 90 Days Fiance show. There was no flirting or nothing other stuff. Like, yeah.
So in your opinion, and for a fact there was no cheating, was this like a jealousy situation? Do you just feel like it was more, I wish she wasn't talking to this person, it's making me feel insecure? You feel like it was more like that?
That's how I felt. Oh, you're talking. I'm sorry.
No, you can.
Well, no, I just it was basically, I saw him doing that a lot, and I got very insecure, and I kind of was like, oh, I'm gonna just do the same that you're doing, and I'm just gonna, if it's such an issue, you can talk to them, I'll do the same, and I'll talk to whoever I want. Unfortunately, I don't think that was the right route, but because he was very upset, and it backfired because he made up some things that weren't true. Obviously, it's not true. So, and he had a lot of people manipulating him and all that. So that was also a way, he, was able to make himself look a little better now in the public's eyes, because, now I could say Melanie did this, unfortunately.
And I think Erin was cheating on Melanie a lot of times. I think Erin maybe was afraid the whole time, or was worried about that she could do this now, and that's why he was like so jealous on her, that he say, okay, now I have something to say too, because maybe then he feel a little bit better, because he knows that he feels guilt because he was cheating on her a lot of times and she was not. But maybe he have the feeling, okay, now he felt not guilty anymore. She did maybe the same, but she's not. She was in another room with her newborn baby. Like, how can she cheat it?
And I wasn't ever thinking, I mean, obviously you can see from if I'm in the relationships trying to work it out, and know that, if you want to be sober and live a healthy life, you have to be with the right person. And I tried that. I could say that I tried so hard. And if I wanted to be infidelity, I would have not been with Erin, and I would have been single on my own, raising Prince alone. But that's not what I wanted.
Well, right. I mean, you brought up to me that this relationship that people assume that you had a smooth selling, easy life in costed you a lot of money. And I don't want to get like technical here, but like
Yeah,
this was a very expensive relationship.
and it wasn't just because it was it was both of us making, we had to pay for a lot of things that happen because of, being online and, social workers, things like that. And just being honest, like it cost a lot of money. His assistants, were always scamming him, and I had to pick up the pieces and try to like fix all these bad decisions he would make when he was alone. And it was not easy. That's like, it was not just raising Prince. It was not just being in a relationship. It was dealing with all these other sides to it. All the dogs that we had. His assistants kept on sending him information on getting new puppies all the time. And it's like we had so much on our plate. I don't understand how we had to deal with so much of that.
All right, so I want to talk about not just the RV, but the teeth. So I know we're talking about how much you've invested in this relationship, and I know you purchased an RV, and I heard that you got Erin new teeth, and it's not a vanity thing, right? You doing this for Erin was for his health, and I think a lot of people don't know the reason that you did it.
Yeah, I mean, there was just some stuff he needed to go do. I recently have been doing dental work too, and I know how important it is. I had some bad things going on with my teeth too. Like, I took care of that. Like, you got to take care of your health. I always encouraged him in that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just try to better his health. And I feel like when people call me a gold digger, it just really hurts my feelings, because that's just, it discredits me and everything that I worked hard for. And it just really hurts.
Well,
So
yeah, you were making really tough decisions, and you made the decision to get his teeth veneers done,
he
and
got
that
crowns, which are actually not even veneers cover up your teeth. Crowns are where you actually need like new teeth.
also
That's
these
how
were all
serious.
new. And if you wouldn't have done this, it would have caused more medical issues.
Yeah.
So when you did this, this was because you wanted him to be okay and his health to be okay. This wasn't, I think a lot of people are like, oh, it was a cosmetic. No, this was not cosmetic at all. This was for the bettering of his health situation.
Yes. Things like
And
that.
so,
And just the RV, he wanted an RV because his dad was, he was really missed his dad and things like that. And it was just really sentimental that he wanted the RV. I bought an RV, put a huge down payment on it. It wasn't, and the rest on credit, things like that, over $100,000. It's hard to hear this stuff when they don't know the facts.
well, yeah, they're saying that you're using him for money when you spent so much money in this relationship. And it's not even about money, because I don't even want to talk about money, because
Yeah,
you did it because you were in love and you were building a life together. You could care less,
exactly.
right? You could care less how much money you spent. It was, you were building a life together, and that life is going to be forever. So
And
this was
it
something.
also put a smile on his face when he got those teeth. He felt confident again. That's what hurts out of all of this, like he was starting to feel a little better. Like he was really happy with his teeth.
Well, this is crazy because I always hear, different stories, and I heard stories about the teeth. And it's so
Yeah,
interesting to hear you tell me what really happened, because the
yeah,
internet is, like I said, just full of narratives.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
people who want to say what happened and who paid for what and who did what. No one knows what was going on in your relationship. And I think it's so important that people realize that if you wouldn't have been in this relationship, you would be in such a different place financially, right?
Yeah,
Like you would have
yeah.
so much money, but you invested in a life with him. And it turned out the way it did. That's one thing. But you never in a million years were interested in Erin because he was gonna take you to the Chanel store. And I think it's
No,
important that
I
people
already went to the Chanel store before I met Erin. I'm just
right?
stating facts.
You were single for so long. You were taking
Yeah.
yourself to Chanel for years, right? Like
Yes, that's what
that
I'm
wasn't.
saying. Yeah.
I think that hearing that and clearing up the information, especially about the RV and the teeth, is eye opening. And I think people, when you're online and you're making assumptions about people's relationships and who's paying for what and who's doing for what, just take a step back and realize that unless you can see their bank account and bank statements, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I want to address real quick. There's some Facebook posts that have been made by Erin's mom. And I know she's been implementing and saying that, oh, certain people are involved in this, certain people are involved in that, and her kids and other people and you. I just want to address that a little bit because I know this is it's a horrific thing that she's been saying online. So I just want to know, how is this situation between Jane and you, and is there hope for it?
I mean, to be honest with you, my best thing I could say is that since I am starting fresh in a new year, I'm going to, not do what I did with Erin and try to make things better with the situation. Unfortunately, it's I loved Erin, so there's a difference. I was willing to work on anything, but at this point in time, when I see such toxicity and that it's been going on around for so long, I just choose to not surround Prince on that, based on the posts that I've seen and things like that. And I just think it's better to not deal with ups and downs anymore. We can't, we've already suffered enough. I don't feel like it's in our best interest to deal with toxic anymore. So
I respect your decision 100%. As a mother, you have to make decisions that are what's best for your child.
Prince needs
And
to be in a stable environment, and he already, has lost a lot. So
it's important that if people can't behave in a non-toxic manner, that they should not be around such a child who has, like you said, has so much going on, so many things. At his age, there are people our age who haven't gone through as much as he has already, so he doesn't need anything more.
I have to protect him at all costs. It's all about him, not about me, it's about who he's around.
Yeah, and family, one thing I learned, family is not always by blood. We
Hmm.
don't have to continually give chances to people because they're our family. We have
Yeah.
to let people show who they are. And if they can't respect and be the right person in your life, we have to let them go. I have a brother I haven't spoken to in almost 2 decades. Okay. Like, you
Yeah.
have to let people go. And I definitely understand that your decision is the right decision. Yeah. So I'm glad that we could clear that up.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a little bit about the medium sessions that you had with Guiliana. Guiliana is here, so she's going to be able to kind of go over what you guys were able to talk about. But I was told that you were quite skeptical
Mhm.
about the this realm of souls and mediums and psychics and things like that. So I want to get a little idea from you of where did you stand when she reached out to you? Did you get the message and be like, "Oh my God, this lady is crazy," or like, how did you react to that?
You know what? She seemed really sweet, and she, was and got the merch and stuff, and she still, gets the love merch, and we connected. I thought she was really sweet, and then I just listened to what she had to say because even though I'm skeptical, so
I like that. I like that you entered in with an open mind because I was raised in a religious cult, so it was hard for me to believe, any of this stuff. So, but after I left that
yeah,
cult, I got an adult, I started looking at things with a more open mind.
yeah.
And so when you had sessions with her, was there anything that transpired in those sessions that made you believe a little more? Like, I'm just curious.
Yeah, after he passed away, there's some stuff that she knew about things, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know if we talk about it or
Yeah,
Yeah,
talk.
Juliana, did you want to give us a little insight? Because we know none of us were in these. These are very private sessions. So first of all,
yeah.
thank you for allowing us to hear some of this information. I know some of it is private, but the fact that you guys are even willing to share that, we just appreciate this insight.
So when it's okay for Melanie, I want to talk about our afterlife session. I just ask you if it's okay to share with the public 2 or 3 things about our
Sure,
afterlife.
yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
So yeah, at first of all, I was really afraid and nervous because I thought, oh my God, there are really a lot of mediums, maybe who reached out to Melanie and said, hey, I'm a medium, I can talk with your fiance, and I don't want to give her the feeling that I'm like a weirdo too. I want to give her the feeling that I don't want money for the session, and I really just want to get all my informations, what I got through Erin, to Melanie. And so I asked Melanie, did Erin ever said to you like Prince need a princess when Prince was born? Because I hear that they had a really hard pregnancy, but I get through him that he said to me like, asked Melanie, because I told her when Prince was born that he wants another baby. So like Prince need a princess. And I asked Melanie, is that was correct?
Yeah.
And was it correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So that was actually a conversation that transpired.
Yeah, right after. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, then I asked Melanie because of a chain. I said, Melanie, do you have a chain from Erin? And when you have this chain, do you hold it in your hand like this and make like this? And you have the feeling that there is like his energy is there, or like there is a part of Erin in your hand, like, and you make like movings like that with the chain. Yeah, this is what I asked Melanie.
And is that accurate?
Yeah, that was right. Yep.
What?
Yep.
That's freaky. So Guiliana, tell me, did you like see a visual of this chain in Melanie's hand? Is that how you saw it?
Yeah. When I connect me with the death, or when I make an afterlife sessions, I have vision like in my head, or I get informations like a movie. This is what I told you in the second podcast. And it was the same. I was like, I don't know, I saw that Melanie was sitting, and she had the chain in her hand, and make like, I don't know, like this when you have a chain in your hand. And yeah, and I said to Melanie that Erin feel very sorry for everything what he ever said about her in the public. And it was not about her. It was like Erin was not have a good self-worth, and he felt like not man enough sometimes. He know that Melanie is like a big prize for him. You know what I mean? And sometimes he feel like he wants to show the people that he is correct, just to I don't know, wants to show that he is better than her, like a battle. I don't know. And after he passed away, he said he felt very sorry for everything what he was talking about her in the public, what he did to her, because now he deal with the all hate by her own, and he never want that people have this picture from her, because it was not like that. Erin said this when he was manic. Erin said this when they struggle, and Melanie was the whole time quiet. You can see in every live or interview that Melanie said some negative stuff about Erin. She never did this. And I think it's really important to say that too, that Melanie was the whole time quiet. She never was talking about Erin like Erin was talking about Melanie.
So am I allowed to ask, Melanie, why did you feel that it was important for you to protect him and to stay quiet, even if things that he was saying wasn't true about you? Why did you feel it was important to stay quiet?
I just feel like it's better to not sit there and argue, and because I know he unfortunately would change his attitude a couple days later, and so I knew that already. It was like it started to be a pattern.
Mm. So it wasn't worth fighting, especially not publicly.
No.
Because one thing we know about you is you are very private. You are not going to air your information online.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was very important to tell this to Melanie, that he feel very sorry. And I never knew the story.
She told me that
before Melanie and Erin, if they had struggled or not, because I was not follow Erin. I was following him when I was a child, like every girl, like Erin Carter or Nick Carter was like our childhood crush, like every woman when he was a child. And so I was not follow him. And now after I talk with him, I can really feel and understand what he is meaning to say sorry to Melanie, because a lot of troubles, and he was treated like Melanie in the public a lot of times. And Melanie was the whole time quiet, and now I think since his past that he felt that she now have to deal with this hate on Twitter, or I don't know, social media, by her own. And this is really hard, and she have a child from him and have to protect her own and the child. And I think that's why it was important for him to say, I'm sorry. I would never want this like this way.
Yeah, when he would disconnect from social media, I mean, we were good. That was at our best moments. It was the social media that was an issue. I don't know what it was, but I mean, off Instagram, when he would delete his Instagram, for a period of time, that was one of the best moments that I had with him. Just with him. That's it. nobody else. Nobody calling him in his ear all the time, and
I
nobody,
do
scamming him for money and stuff.
I do believe that most toxic things start online. I know people are like, oh, the internet is gonna improve our lives and make it better. I don't know if that's true or not. I think that it's a double-edged sword, and we deal with a lot of BS from the internet, and it's ruined so many relationships. It's ruined lives, and I think social media, the power of social media, is just so massive at this point, and people don't realize how much of a toll it can take. So, oh, I wanted to ask, so Guiliana, I know you're a clairvoyant and you can look into photos, you can look into people's eyes and you can see into their soul. I don't know if this is too personal, stop me if it is, but when you looked into Erin's eyes, what did you see?
Um, I saw a lot of sadness in his eyes, and I also saw that he was like obsessed with some bad energies because of the drugs, and I think that's why he was like very easy to manipulate, because he was not in his own mindset, I think. And that's why I think since he's passed and all this negative energies was away, that he can think like clear, that he was clear. And that's why I think he reached me out also to say apologize to Melanie.
So it was very important to him, before he crossed over, that he needed to know that Melanie knew he was
Yeah,
sorry. That was very important.
but
That has
since
helped me. Yeah.
because since that day when I was talking with Melanie, I had tears in my eyes the whole time when I was talking with her, because I really felt that he really loves her. No matter what all these fucking internet trolls, I'm sorry for saying this, are saying, or that he just is the baby mama, or I don't know. He really loves Melanie, and I felt this in this afterlife session so much. And after the afterlife session, I felt that he found like peace. He felt like so far away, like he can gone, like this feeling.
You feel that he stayed around longer until he knew that Melanie knew that he was sorry for all of the things that he put her through.
Yeah.
Do you believe that if he was still here, that they would have worked things out? Because a lot of people say, like, I know Melanie, you said it just turned into a little pattern. Y'all would fight, things would be fine. Do you feel like this fight before he left the world wasn't that big of a deal? Y'all would have made this work?
Yeah, we would have made it work. Yeah.
Guiliana,
Definitely.
is that how he felt too?
Yeah.
So this relationship wasn't over, because I know at the time when he left, things weren't great. But as you've been telling me, the people around him, the people in his ear, the manipulation, the lying, the secretive stuff, that had a
Yes.
big part in that.
Yes.
So I want to talk about the subject of demons, because this came up on our last podcast. And first of all, Melanie, what's your opinion on demons? Do you believe that there can be a demon inside of a person?
I don't even know what that means, honestly.
So
I wish
Guiliana,
that's I wish I could know that.
Juliana, I want to ask you, because a lot of times, because first of all, the relationship that you and Erin had, I felt in the beginning, and the relationship towards the end, it wasn't the same. So, Juliana, in your opinion, was there someone controlling Erin's thoughts and actions? Do you believe that there was something other than him?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I every day have clients with demons in herself, because they take drugs or they are depressive. And when you feel very weak, it's possible that a demon catches your body and control your mind, and that you are doing things what you would never do in when you was in a normal mindset. So yeah. And I think you can see in some pictures from Aaron when he was still alive that his eyes was really big and black, like, and this is how you can see when someone has a bad energy, because maybe of drugs or maybe of other stuff. So yeah, I really believe, because before I made the heaven session with Erin, that I can bring him from the between world to heaven, I cleared his soul from all this negative stuff, and this was really a lot of demons and negative energies, because maybe from Duster or Mariana or from the depressions.
So, Melanie, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like there were times when you didn't recognize him? Do you feel like he was doing or saying things that you didn't recognize?
Yeah, of course. It wasn't Aaron. It wasn't my Aaron at all. But what makes me mad is that people would go with that and they didn't see that there was something going on there and that it wasn't him. And they would just go with it and continue to like, I just don't understand that.
I think it's really difficult for people to believe these types of things. And I didn't always believe. I was raised in a religious cult. We were taught we weren't supposed to believe. And I think a lot of times people want things to make sense. They need to be able to explain it. And I think in the realm where we live, there's what we can see. There's this universe, and there's other things that we can't see or explain. And I think that especially celebrities are highly vulnerable to be taken over by spirits or other bad things. So we had this conversation about Britney Spears. We've had this conversation before. And I just think it's very important that people know, when you see, especially like the things that were going on in Erin's life, a lot of people said mental health, but maybe this was something else. Maybe this was someone completely different. He would have never done those things. And I think that a lot of people need to open their mind and open up the way that they view the world and the spiritual world, and maybe we can start to understand more, and then maybe we can help people. Like there's cleansing processes, Guiliana, that you've talked about, where you can help clear and cleanse a person's soul instead of we just let people self-destruct. Maybe we can take steps, we can recognize this and take steps to save people. So Julia, I wanted you to go in a little bit more of the cleansing process and how you help people move on, because you've told me that it can take months and even years to get people ready to move from that realm to the other. And then I want you to touch on how long it took for you to help Erin move into the heaven realm.
So when I see that a soul is like in a between with, like they're here and another part is like away in another dimension, then I send a light energy to bring them to the heaven dimension, and then they are like 6 weeks away. Like, so it needs sometimes 6 weeks that the soul can really go from here to heaven. And when someone can't get help from a sidekick, then like Leslie Carter, then they stuck in the between world over years and they can't find a way to heaven.
So if they can't find someone to help, so this is something they can't do on their own?
No.
I didn't know that. Okay, so and if they can't find someone to channel their soul or energy, they're literally stuck there as long as it takes?
Yeah, sometimes it takes longer because maybe a soul was stuck in the between world over years, and sometimes it goes faster. And by Erin was like, it was 6 weeks. And when I was reach him out for the first time, he was like really weak and really full of negative energies. And after the 6 weeks, when he was like clean, I can talk with him very clear in the afterlife. And he was like, I don't know, he's looking like fresh up, like when he was dancing with the stars, like this way. So he changed his shell, like, yeah.
So even in the between world, you can tell if someone is healthy or not.
Yeah.
You can still see that visualization of their body. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So you saw that once you cleansed his soul, he looked much better, much healthier, and he was in a better state.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct.
And how long was he in that better state before he moved on? Like, what were like the top 3 things that he needed to accomplish before he could go?
What do you mean? From the between world to heaven dimension?
Yes, before he would go, like when you guys had sessions, what was very important to him? I know one of them was for you to deliver the message that he was sorry to Melanie. What else did he want to do before he could be at peace and move forward?
It was like a healing process for him. So when I took him from the between worlds to heaven, it was like a healing process, and it's called like healing sleep, when souls are healing from the life here, when they was sick or when they have depression or they had a really horrible life, they need to heal. And he was healing the whole time, and he was talking with me a lot of things from his life, but I felt that his biggest wish was to talking with Melanie and say apologize to her. And then I don't know, but it was the feeling like he can found peace in heaven and can stay there, because the time before it was like he was here on earth the whole time, and I said you have to go to heaven and stay there, but he he want, because he want to tell his story and he wants to apologize by Melanie. And since this day, he's like, yeah, really in heaven, or he is arrived in heaven right now.
Got you. All right, so I want to talk about the love merch because there's some information online. What the fans are saying, things like, oh well, the love merch is Melanie's. It has nothing to do with Erin. And I just want to get a little background on this love merch. How did it start? And what was it started for? Because I want to make sure that everyone is aware of what's going on with this love merch. And I know that both of you are wearing it right now. So I want to make sure that everyone understands where this came from.
He made this for me in 2020. It's a little fit. It's like I wash it a couple of times and I don't want to wash it because I don't want to wear it as much because Erin made this one. So
Oh wow.
Yeah, he made this by hand. Like he put like the crystals on it and stuff.
It's beautiful. So was it important to you to continue the merch after his passing? Like was that something that you felt obligated to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was doing it before. So, in our garage during COVID, I said, hey, why don't we expand the merch and do more stuff? And then we did, and we kept on putting more and more styles. And then, I just continue his legacy and do what he would have wanted me to do this. So
to clear this up, you started this together.
Well, yeah, he had the merch, but not the designs. Like he would, before me, he had like regular designs, but nothing with like colors like this and like fun stuff. So we expanded it both together.
So this was a collaboration for the two of you, like as a couple. This was
I did like the first one I did was called Blue Lagoon, or Erin made it, and I was like, oh, I love that. Let's do more and more colors, and we did more tie dyes. We did the tie dye designs. Then he did this butterfly thing, which I don't know how to do this one, but it's like one of a kind that he made. But
well, it's beautiful. And Guiliana, I see you're wearing the merch too. I feel left out.
I made that one.
You made that?
My boxes are full. Yeah, Melanie did this, and it's exactly like Erin's stuff. So she's amazing. My boxes are full. I have no place anymore because I have a lot of large merch from the Love collection.
I feel left out. Now I need to order something. I feel left out. So it's interesting to hear that you were in the garage making merch. I don't think a lot of people realize how dedicated you were to this relationship. And I think it's important that people realize, hey, there was no drop shipping, okay? Melanie was in the garage helping make this merch and send it out. So I think people are making all these weird assumptions, like, don't make assumptions. You don't know what was going on. She was fully involved. And I love that this is a creation between the both of you.
I know.
And it's something that you can continue on, in his legacy. And I think that it's beautiful. And I see so many fans online wearing the merch and they really love what you're doing. And they love that you're continuing on his legacy. And I see you reposting videos and so many girls wearing the merch. And it's a beautiful thing to see the people really appreciating Erin and appreciating what he contributed.
Yeah, he wanted everybody to, have a love. He gave them away all the time. We would keep them in our trunk and he would just give them away to people that were friendly out on the streets, like in the gas stations, like the grocery store. I mean, there was really good things he did too. I mean, one time I remember we were at a grocery store during COVID and this little boy in Lancaster was like, I love your shoes. And Erin was like, have them. And he literally gave him his shoes and was like walking barefoot after that and the boy was forever, a fan. Like he was so happy. He was like, I can't believe you do that. And he did really sweet things like that. People don't know.
It's so important that people hear these things because like I said earlier, people just believe what they saw on TikTok. They don't know any of the other things that happened. So
but that's the side of me that I wanted to, I wanted to salvage that. I wanted that Erin back,
It's unfortunate. And I know that was the man you fell in love with, that kind-hearted, decent person who loved everyone, who wanted everyone to be included. That was who you fell in love with. And I know that's what kept you in that relationship because everyone's like, oh, why did she leave?
Kind. At the end of the day, yes, he did some, pretty upsetting things and hurtful things that, but I mean, that is what I fell in love with.
Oh, let's talk about where people can order the merch in case you're watching this podcast and you're not like if you're a George Mossey show fan and you're not hip on that. So where are we going to order this merch from?
ErinCarter.love.
Perfect. ErinCarter.love. Go put your orders in. These are custom made, guys. These are custom. So you're getting custom made merch, which I feel very, very left out. So I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna send you one, and Julian is getting a whole bag of goodies.
Oh yes, yes. I feel left out. Like I feel like I didn't get the memo.
Just tell me your size, and I'm gonna send you some stuff so you can wear some love merch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Erin would want that, and you're really kind, and you are. I feel like you're a good interviewer, and I felt your energy. Like I felt comfortable. I don't really do interviews often, but I felt your energy was good, and Juliana's energy is good.
Thank you. I just have one motto: is treat everyone like they're a human being. And I know a lot of interviewers don't. I feel like people are shock value interviewers, and they want to get you on the video and get you to react and hurt your feelings or say something something that you don't want to talk about. And I feel like that's not what it's about. I feel like everyone needs to be treated like a human first. I don't care if you're a celebrity, you're on TV, you have 20 Grammys, you're a person first. And I want to make sure that I respect people as people. So we're coming towards the end of everything. So Melanie, I wanted to ask you if there's anything that you wanted to talk about or clear up before we end this, because I know this is the first time that we've heard from you. So I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to tell anything that you want people to know, because after such a long time of silence, it must feel very invigorating to finally speak and use your voice.
I mean, what do you think what else could we talk about?
Is there anything that people have been saying or rumors or anything that you just want people to know the truth? Because there's so many, your name comes up a lot in a lot of different things. And I know it has to bother you. You're out living your life and being a mom, and then people are saying horrific things about you. So if there's anything that you want to clear up and discuss, I'm leaving the floor open to you.
Francis. I mean, honestly, I think they're gonna do what they want to do, and there's what they see, and then there's the truth, So
Exactly.
there's some people that know the difference of what's going on, and there's so much to really talk about, but I know we're only in this for a little bit to get into detail, but it's just there's a lot. There's always going to be answers that were not answered for me, like I'll never know. So
I think it's important for Melanie also to, I don't know, to show the world, because Erin had a lot of friends who scammed him, and everyone says, oh, Melanie is a gold digger, or she just won his money. But Melanie was good before he met Erin.
That's always an issue, that was always an issue with people, like the stuff I see online, like they're saying, like she used it, like I came into the relationship with, bank account, and like I built our family together, and unfortunately he had a lot of people scamming him all the time, especially during breakups. That was when it would happen, cars and his assistants, like doing all this stuff, scamming him, and it was just really bad. So, and I always had to come back and pick up all the pieces and deal with all of that.
So you were the one person who actually had his back, and it's unfortunate.
I appreciate that.
It's unfortunate that he and other people don't see it, but when things fell down and fell apart, you were the constant in his life.
I tried my hardest, but I was defeated. But all these people were interfering with me, getting him sober, getting him just everything. It was a constant battle. The cloud chase, trying to get off of his music, like it's crazy.
It's so unfortunate. Guiliana, what do you want to say before we end this today?
A lot of things because of Melanie, because I really feel sorry, because Melanie and I was talking a lot of times, and I know a lot of details, and I think it's important that she really show the world that he has her own personality, and that she was not like just his fiance and a gold digger, because she's not. She was helping Erin with money or with other stuff.
I paid for his rehab in the last 3 months, but he canceled it a couple times. And then I didn't really get that, I tried. That wasn't free, and things
No?
like people, I leave that stuff out, like all the lawyer fees from our custody stuff with the, the social workers and stuff. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh.
Like, yeah, I don't even want to get into the numbers, but it was pretty pricey, and that really was hard. The last year was the hardest year of
Yeah.
my life, and then now another hard year. So it's never gotten easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or people say, yeah, Melody just want to control him or take his friends away. And I think
There's
when
a difference. There's what you see that's not good for Erin. And Erin even told me, he goes, when I first met him, he's like, I said, how come you don't have any friends or family? I was asking him that. He's like, I just keep to myself. And I was actually okay with, me and just him and, occasional friend here and there. Like he had like a lifetime friend from like 10 years ago. I never really had problems with him, things like that. But then it was the people that were trying to manipulate him and be a part of all of that. That's the worst part.
So in actuality, you were trying to help him weed out the people who shouldn't be there. And I think people are confusing that with controlling. Like you said, there's a difference between trying to be controlling and having someone's best interest at hand. And I think you could see through what these people were doing.
He could
And
see
you
through them too, just so you know. When he was
really,
he would, yes, really. And then he would just bring him right back.
wow, that's so unfortunate. I really do wish that he had better people around him, because I just feel like he didn't have anyone that he could really trust, and that I don't know what that's like. I've never dream of achieving the type of fame and notoriety that Erin did, but it puts you in a very lonely place, and he doesn't know who's actually there for him, who's not. And I can't imagine how lonely a person can feel knowing that everyone around you wants something from you. I can't imagine
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to grow up. He said, I'm getting old. Like, I want to have a family. I don't want to be doing all this stuff. And then it would just backfire. It would, like, we would take a step back, we start good and then take a step back. Then assistant comes over and says, let me buy you another shiny car with a different color today. And I'm like, do we really need that? Is that necessary? Like, I'm scamming him all the time.
All right, Juliana,
So,
anything else?
Yeah. I think that Erin now felt that people was scamming him and that Melanie just knows how she can handle his because of his manic. And I think when you are his fiance, you know how your fiance works, and how you can handle someone when they have mental health problems or issues. And I think people think, yeah, she just wants to control him, or she's crazy, or no, she's not. I think that she knows what was the best for him, and that's why she don't want that he was around with people who scammed him the whole time, because she think clear and she saw the whole time it was like not good people around him.
yeah, especially on the tour and stuff with one of his old friend, and then came back into the picture. When one left, there was a new one.
Yeah. It's like what do you call that? Cycle. It's a cycle. Yeah, when you rid one, or what do people call it? They call it a cockroach cycle. You kill one, another one pops up, right? Like you can't. It's a never ending battle. It's like you figure one out and you shoo them away, then someone else is there, and it's like being in his position. There's always somebody who wants to make a buck off of you. It's never anyone with good
And the
intentions.
patrol, I mean, one was trying to get his executor of the state and try to get him, but it was never notarized.
And they tried to do this while he was still alive.
Yes.
That's very, very questionable. That's a very questionable thing to do, because Erin he was a very young man. So that is a very
Yeah,
questionable thing to do.
I have. Yeah, the see all the questions I have and all the. It's.
Wow.
I'm not gonna, because of what's going on. I have a few things going on, but I don't want to like get into that in full detail. But
Right, right. I understand. So, if anybody wants to book a session with Guiliana, she's gonna be tagged in this video. She does a lot of different types of sessions. She can see things going on now with people alive. She can speak to souls that have passed on. And Melanie was able to do that, and she was able to get some closure from her fiance, Erin Carter, which I think was extremely important, because in this is never going to be an easy situation to be in. The pain is never going to go away. But I do believe that the sessions that she had with Guiliana did make the pain a little less harsh and hurtful as she goes through this. Because as we heard, this has been a very tough time for you. And I want to say thank you for being a part of this and sharing this with us, because I know this was very difficult for you. You're not a public person. You don't go, you don't clear up rumors, you don't speak out, you live your life in a very private way. So I know, thank you for doing that. I know this was not easy.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it was good to talk it out a little bit and give my side of the story. The little side. There's so much more that went on, but you know.
Absolutely. And Guiliana, thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you could be here to give us a little insight on these very deep emotional sessions that you had with the late Erin Carter and his fiance, Melanie. Again, guys, make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, georgemossey.com. Anywhere to get your podcast, type in the George Mossey Show. It's on all streaming platforms. And Guiliana and Melanie are both tagged in this video, because if you don't follow them, what are you doing? You need to follow them both. All right, guys, thank you for joining us. I'm going to talk to everybody really soon.